दसामि इति नमोस्ते सरस्वती देवे
निर्विशेष
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु
नित्यानंद
शिवासादि भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम हरे राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare श्री श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय शील प्रभुपाद जी की जय उपस्थित गौर भक्तवृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल So please recite after me, unmuting yourself. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter number 14, which is entitled "The Three Modes of Material Nature" or the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga in Sanskrit, and we are on to text number 26. Please recite after me. Mam chayo avyabhicharena
Mam chayo avyacharena
bhakti yogena sevate
bhakti yogena sevate
sagunan samatityaityan
sagunan samatitetan
brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
brahma bhuyaya kalpate.
Thank you. So, mam chayo vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati tetyan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So, this is the word-to-word meaning, translation, and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. Translation. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Purport. This verse is a reply to Arjuna's third question: what is the means of attaining to the transcendental position? As explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions such as Rama and Narayan. He has innumerable expansions. One who is engaged in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or of his plenary expansions is considered to be transcendently situated. One should also note that all the forms of Krishna are fully transcendental, blissful, full of knowledge, and eternal. Such personalities of Godhead are omnipotent and omniscient, and they possess all transcendental qualities. So, if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them easily. This has already been explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto Krishna at once surmounts the influence of the modes of material nature. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particles are part of the gold mine. Thus, the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise, there would be no question of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means that the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. Therefore, the individuality of two persons is present in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the individual person. Otherwise, there would be no meaning to Bhakti Yoga. If one is not situated in the same transcendental position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the qualifications. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman or freed from all the material contamination. It is said in the Vedic literature, Brahmaneva san Brahmapi eti. One can attain the Supreme Brahman by becoming Brahman. This means that one must qualitatively become one with Brahman. By attainment of Brahman, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual soul. So we'll recite prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्। Hare Krishna. So welcome back to our study and discussion of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the last 6 chapters, and we had been discussing the chapter number 14, the three modes of material nature, Gunataya Traya Vibhaga Yoga, and wherein we have been discussing three main sections. That is the how the three modes they actually condition the living entity, or actually what are the characteristics of the three modes. That's the first 9 verses. Then we have been discussing how these three modes they compete with each other, and one of them it becomes prominent. And when one particular mode becomes prominent, what happens? What is the effect of that conditioning on the living entity? What sort of activities, what sort of results he gets? What happens when he dies in a particular mode, etc., etc. So those things we have been discussing last time. And then the Arjuna came up with a brilliant question about what are the characteristics of one who has transcended the modes. What is his behavior, how it is reflected in his day-to-day behavior, dealings with the situation, with the people, with the objects, etc. And then how the most important question which is relevant to all of us is how one can transcend. What is the method, what is the path by which one can transcend the three modes? So if anybody remembers any discussion, any points from our last discussion, anything you made sense to you, anything you liked, anything you remember, anything struck you from Srila Prabhupada's purports, or any of the discussions, quotations, you may share with the whole class now. Yes, Madhav Harinam Prabhuji, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thanks for presence. Yeah, we learned about what are the effects of modes, that when one is in mode of goodness, then his whatever he does in mode of goodness, then the result is nirmalam or satvikam. And when one is in mode of passion, he acts in passion, then there is miseries. And when there is action in mode of darkness, then there is ignorance. So I was relating with that how people how the living entity are suffering. They are suffering just because of the mode of passion.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Yes, Mukund Pad Prabhuji.
So in the last section, in the last class, we have seen in the verses 22 to 25, the kind of devotee, not devotee, the person who can surpass these modes of material nature or transcend to these material modes of nature. So basically, kind of qualities which has been given are related with the sthita prajna. Please correct me if I am wrong, Prabhuji, but that is what I feel after reading that. And here the things has been mentioned out that the person who is transcended, what kind of qualities exists. Basically, he is like equipped. I mean, he's like sees each and everything with the same way. Basically, like friend and enemy, he deals with similar manner. Even in happiness and distress, he remain undisturbed in different kinds of situations. Also, there are like different thing has been given in that. Like in case of this kind of person, they are remain neutral during the different kinds of material reactions and different kinds of material things, and also knowing everything as belong to Lord, and they are just a servant to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So knowing this thought, they are always remain equipoised in all the situations. So these are the things I think exist or possessed by the person who transcend the modes of nature.
Okay, fine. So we can compare such a person with ourselves and see for ourselves where we are actually. We are far, far. I mean, at least I can say about myself, we are far, far long distance to go. But at least by knowing the qualities, the symptoms, and his behavior, we can know the person who has transcended the modes. Okay, thank you. Kishore Madhav Prabhuji.
It was almost the same point that it's about seeing others. Yoga 19, that one who properly sees that all other people who are performing the activities are performing under the mode of nature. One who can see this aspect of this behavior of others can become a transcendent.
Okay, yes. So another very important point is this has been discussed throughout the Bhagavad Gita is actually who is actually the doer? Is it the Jiva doer? Is it the three modes or is it the Lord? Right? So the correct understanding is a Jiva desires. First of all, he has to have desire because he's given the independence. He desires. Then the Lord sanctions without the Upadrushta Anumanta. Nothing, a leaf also cannot move. So Lord sanctions either happily or reluctantly, and then the execution part is done by the three modes. Execution is not done by the soul himself. Execution has to be done through the three modes. So that has been the constant theme in Bhagavad Gita also. Just like what is it? 3.27. I keep forgetting 3.27. Prakrute kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma karta hamiti. Yes. Yes, Prerna Mataji, you want to share something from the last discussion?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my voice is clear, Prabhuji?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
of
little
noise.
bit louder you can speak, little bit, yeah.
Okay. So in 3.25, how one can become Vinatit? That question was always in my mind. Every time I read Bhagavad Gita, I get enlightened and I forget. So again, in the last question, I will read from the purport. How does he becomes aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body, nor does he desire to get out of it. Thus, transcendently situated, the devotee becomes automatically free. He need not try to become free from the influence of the modes of material nature. This point strikes me a lot because I was always thinking that I'm working, I have to do this thing, so many people come in me, they give me money, so much impurity I am accumulating. But after reading this vision got clear that we should just simply um, perform our devotional services, be honest with Guru and Gauranga, and automatically, whatever Krishna willing by His mercy, with His mercy, we will be able to some extent, get ourselves free from the modes of material.
Okay, yes, very nice.
I
Yes.
may be wrong. If I am wrong, please correct me.
No, you're not wrong. That is correct. So Prabhupada stresses here that you should focus on your duties, your sadhana. There may be so many anarthas, the influence of the three modes, but our duty is to perform the sadhana part very nicely. And then the Lord will also take care because He's also sitting in our heart. And it is said in Bhagavatam, Shunvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hrudayantasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti surasatam. So our part is to struggle for the anartha nivritti, perform sadhana, sadhu sangha, bhajan kriya, and then the Lord who is also sitting, he will see our sincerity, and based on how sincere we are, he will also help us in vidhunoti, completely wash out all our anarthas, because it is not possible for us to do it on our own without Lord's help. So that's the glorious part we have in the Krishna consciousness. Thank you. So Arun Prabhuji, last.
Hare Krishna. So in Bhagavad Gita 14.17, we were discussing that how different modes, what are the characteristics of different modes, and there we discussed like the mams part, that in ignorance the people eat non-veg, and how the mams, the meaning of mams, that mam plus which means that in this life I am killing you, in the next life you can kill me. And then we discussed that how non-veg is very nice way of saying, but it is really it is in reality it is a dead carcass. So generally modern people are putting a good code over bad things, and trying to do those bad things and thinking that they are doing good or they are normal, which is abnormal. So this I liked in the last class. Also, like in 14.19, as Prabhuji was also sharing that the person or the two things one should know, that who is doing. So these three modes of material nature are the doer. And how do we understand it? By anupashyati. By how will we get the vision to see properly? By following the footsteps of Acharya or the spiritual master. Then we discussed in purport, Prabhupada discussed that then who is the spiritual master? So the proper spiritual, who is the proper spiritual master? So the proper spiritual master is the one who is following his spiritual master properly. So this line of discussion in 14.19 I like. And also one more thing that we have discussed for the second time, I guess, in the last two classes, that why is the body of Acharya not burnt? Because by dint of their devotional service, the body has become uh, totally spiritual, 100% spiritual. And and Srila Prabhupada gives the example of iron rod. So, because it can be a common question that why are they not burnt, or why are they treated different from others? So, this was good to know. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Yes. So now we will go ahead with our today's discussion. Now we need to cover a lot now. So we have been discussing now the most important part, the end conclusion part of the chapter number 14, where now Lord Sri Krishna is going to talk about the clue or the method or the process by which we can overcome the three modes or the effects of the three modes, or we can become free from the entanglement of the three modes. And here it is said, Mam chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati tyaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So what is being said here? Mam chayo avyabhicharena. Mam cha, only to me. Avyabhicharena. Vyabhichar we all understand, right? So avyabhicharena, without doing vyabhichar. So we'll see the meaning of these words one by one also. Bhakti yogena sevate, one who is actually engaged in the bhakti yoga, like Prabhupada mentions in the purport, the activities for Krishna, they are called as bhakti yoga, or the activities done for Krishna, always acting for Krishna, that is actually bhakti yoga activities. So mam chayo vabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. What will happen? Somebody who's like doing like this, avyabhichari bhakti, sagunan samati tetyan. He will actually transcend, he will overcome the effects. Samati tetyan, he will transcend. Samati guna, sagunan sam, sa means that person. Yo means that who is doing avyabhichari bhakti, sa, that person, gunan samati tetyan, he will transcend the modes. And where he will go then after transcending? Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He will come to the level of Brahman. Okay. So can somebody explain what do you understand that means when he comes to the Brahman? Brahman means, what is your understanding? Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. I mean, in simple words, whatever is our understanding now, we can just try to translate in our own words. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Yes, Mataji,
Yes,
Prerna.
yes. Prabhuji, what I understood that understanding of Brahman is gaining the divine qualities like the Lord,
Okay, fine.
obtaining divine
Okay,
qualities.
fine. Thank you. Yes, Madhav Harinam Prabhuji.
Yes, impersonal Brahman effulgence, I think.
Okay, impersonal Brahman effulgence. Mukund Path Prabhuji.
I am not this body, I am the soul.
I am not this body, I am the soul. Kishore Madhav Prabhuji. Kishore Madhav.
Knowing Krishna Tattvata.
Knowing Krishna Tattvata. Prasanna Gopal Prabhuji.
He understands the absolute knowledge.
He understands the absolute knowledge. Okay, Arjun Jaiswal Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So Brahman comes as different meaning at different places. Here it seems that uh, like at a sadhaka stage, after getting these qualities, one should be able to see the same spirit soul or the presence of Lord in everyone. Another word that comes to my mind, Shunicheva Supakecha Pandita Samdarshina. So the stage of that where a person can see everyone equally is this stage.
Okay, okay, fine. Thank you for everyone, all of you, for sharing your understanding. Yeah. So we'll see this a little bit more in detail. So this the first one, the acharyas, this Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, he explains the word cha, mam cha. What does it mean, cha? Cha generally means cha in Sanskrit. It will come in the next verse also, right? What is the next verse? Brahmano hi pratishtaham amrutasya avyasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhe sikantikasya cha. All the time it is coming cha 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 in the next verse also. So cha generally means also. Kshetrajnam cha api mam vidhi. I am also the knower. And or also, right? Like that is the meaning of the cha. But here Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan explains that the meaning of cha is actually indicates exclusiveness. Mam cha means only to me, nobody else. Like that he explains. Exclusiveness is actually being stated by cha, the word cha. Just like we have this, he gives the examples of 7.14, which is paraphrased by Srila Prabhupada in the purport. Daivi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya Mameva Ye Mam Eva. Mama Eva. Eva means certainly, or Eva means only to me. Mam Eva means only to me. Similarly, Mam Cha means it's only to me alone, nobody else, like that. Or even we have this Charam Shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadharman Parityajya Mam Ekam, nobody else, to me only, like that. So that is the meaning of word cha. So therefore, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan translates this verse as, he who serves me alone in pure devotional service surpasses the gunas and becomes endowed with his spiritual nature. Some of you actually pointed out to this spiritual nature, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So that is the meaning, that is the understanding of the word cha, like that. So if you read 7.14 purport, that is being referred here also in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada writes there in the last paragraph, Mam eva ye prapadyante, only to me who surrenders. So the word Mam eva is very significant. Mam means unto Krishna, Vishnu only, and not Brahma or Shiva. Although Brahma and Shiva are greatly elevated and are almost on the level of Vishnu, it is not possible for such incarnations of Rajoguna, passion, and Tamoguna, ignorance, to release the conditioned soul from the clutches of Maya. In other words, both Brahma and Shiva are also under the influence of Maya. Only Vishnu is the master of Maya. Therefore, he alone can give release to the conditioned soul. So if you read the last paragraph, 7.14 purport, you will read this from Srila Prabhupada. You will get this understanding. So that's about Mam Cha Yo Avabhicharena. So Mam Cha means only to me, to only Krishna. And of course, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, only Krishna to means Krishna and his expansions also. So we'll also discuss that further. So now the next important word in this particular verse is avyabhicharena. How does Srila Prabhupada translates avyabhicharena? It's
Without fail.
it's without fail. Yes, correct. So that is actually the key to transcend the three modes. Perform devotional service how? Avyabhicharena, without fail. Just like in 13.8 to 12, those 5 verses, we saw the 20 items of knowledge or the process of gaining knowledge or the qualities which we need to develop, right? So there also the most important of all 20 items was what? Maicha ananya yogena bhaktir avyabhicharini. There also this word has come, avyabhicharini. So Srila Prabhupada translates there avyabhicharini means without any break, constantly, continuously, like that. And Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains avyabhicharini means without deviation, without deviating from the path. Vyabhichar means deviating from the standard path. If a lady is deviating from a standard behavior, she is called as a vyabhicharini. So vyabhichar means deviating from the standard or pure path behavior, and avyabhicharini means without deviating from bhakti, path of bhakti, like this. So that is the meaning of avyabhicharena, like that. Without fail, constantly, without break, constantly, 24 hours. So we have to go to that platform actually, like that. And just like Srila Prabhupada was doing, performing, whether he was in the morning, afternoon, night, daytime, with devotees, with non-devotees, with the guest, everybody was Krishna conscious only, like that. Constantly serving Krishna and his spiritual master. So now the Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So if you read Kalpate, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Kalpate means here Srila Prabhupada writes what? Kalpate means he becomes, like that he says. So if you read this next verses, where we have similar verse in the 18th chapter also, the same Jnana section, how one can come after transcending Nishkam Karma Yoga to Jnana, and from Jnana platform he comes to pure devotional service. While explaining that, if you open 18.51 to 53 in your books or on your screens, you will find that at the end of those 3 verses, there is a word also, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate has come. How Srila Prabhupada has translated there? Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate? Somebody?
For self-realization is qualified.
For self-realization is qualified. That means it becomes self-realized. It becomes qualified to self-realize, like that. So this way, also we can understand the meaning of Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So what does it means that in terms of a Jnani for whom this Jnana section is there, and also in terms of a devotee, because this is not just for Jnani, entire Bhagavad Gita is for a devotee also. So from devotee's perspective also we can see, because you will see Prabhupada is tracing again upon the individuality, eternal individuality, etc. That is from the point of view that when these so-called impersonalists, they read this verse, they are becoming very happy. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. Because from them, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate means, now dekho here, Krishna is telling, we will merge into Brahman, we'll become Brahman, we'll become Brahma Jyoti, we'll become part of the Brahman. Like that they actually state, and therefore Srila Prabhupada actually will refute that. Okay. So now here Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport that this is the answer to Arjuna's third question. What is the means of attaining the transcendental position? And then Prabhupada writes, how to become free from the influence of modes? One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as Bhakti Yoga, always acting for Krishna. Okay. So what do you understand by not being disturbed by the activities of the modes? Not being disturbed by the activities of modes means, as I said, the mood comes from the modes. Like, अरे आज मंदिर जाने का मूड नहीं है, आज चैंटिंग करने का मूड नहीं है ना, आज क्या पढ़ाई पढ़ने का या किताब पढ़ने का या हेयरिंग का आज मूड नहीं, आज थोड़ा अलग फ्रीडम अपना लेते हैं, समथिंग लाइक दैट. No mood to chant or hear or do some service, etc., etc. So whether we feel it like that or not. This is actually the influence of the modes, either ignorance or passion or whatever it may be, a combination of both of them. So we should not be bogged down by these kinds of moods, which is given by our mind. Whether I like it, I don't like it. We should understand, this I have taken a vow in front of the spiritual master, in front of the devotees, in front of the fire, and it is in my own benefit. Whether I like it, my mind likes it or it doesn't likes it. I need to get up. I need to go for Mangalarti. Whatever may be our schedule, once in a month, every Saturday, Sunday, or daily, whatever it may be. So we should do it without being disturbed by the modes, without being caught up by the moods, so-called moods, like that. And then Srila Prabhupada also explains that Krishna means, this includes not only Krishna, his different plenary expansions, such as Rama and Narayana. He has innumerable expansions. So when you study Nectar of Devotion, there also it will come Anya Bhilashida Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukullenu Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. What is Uttama Bhakti? First primary characteristic is it should be done for Krishna and not for anybody else. So Krishna means to whom? Somebody may be a Rama Bhakta, somebody may be a Narsimha Bhakta, or like that. So are they not on the transcendental platform? So there it is explained, Krishna is actually, it's a broad term, and Krishna includes everything, right? What is not Krishna's, you tell me? What is his personal expansion? Swamshas are also Krishna's, and whether living entities, whatever we see in the material world, everything belongs to Krishna only. But there it is specifically said, Krishna means his expansions, Vishnu forms, even his pure devotees. When we serve his pure devotees, we are serving the mission of Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. It is also like serving Krishna only. It is not different from Krishna only. Because now Krishna has appeared in our life. Krishna cannot come directly, but Krishna has appeared in form of the spiritual master, in the form of Srila Prabhupada, like that. So this way, serving his pure devotees also. And like when we say, oh, Srila Prabhupada went to the West and he preached to the hippies. So does that mean he was serving Krishna or not serving Krishna? He was serving Krishna because he was serving the order of a spiritual master. And also we can understand the hippies are also part and parcel of Krishna. So as long as he was contemplating or trying to fulfill the instruction of spiritual master based on Guru Sadhu Shastra, then also it is including for Krishna only, like that. So Krishna, this is the way we can understand. As far as it is my personal meditation, it is there. Srila Prabhupada will explain that it is on the Shyam Sundar, in the two-handed form of Shyam Sundar. That should be our personal meditation. But when it comes to the service of Krishna, then it's a broad term, it includes many things like that. And then what is the power of service to Krishna? So if one engages himself in the service of Krishna or his plenary expansions with unfailing determination, although these modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, one can overcome them very easily. This has been already explained in 7th chapter, the same verse which we have been discussing. Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya. Why Maya is Duratya? Why Maya is very difficult? Maya means even the 3 modes, because it is Daivi. It is acting under the direction of the Lord Sri Krishna. Just like those 3 ladies, and above those 3 ladies, there is Lord Sri Krishna. So Krishna is controlling them. So this Maya is not ordinary, it is Daivi. But who surrenders to Krishna means to Krishna's representative, to the spiritual master. Mameva ye prapatyante mayam etam tarantite. Like that we can understand. Okay. And then this Brahma sagunan samaditetan Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So Brahma bhuyaya kalpate here, Srila Prabhupada stresses on the individuality is maintained even after coming to the self-realization platform or spiritual platform. And therefore he gives the 2 analogies there. One is actually for stating that we are same in quality with the Krishna and may not be in the quantity, not in the quantity, but in quality. That is the example of gold particle and the gold mine. There is a qualitative oneness, but quantitative difference is there. So to be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. Equality means, in the 10th chapter, it is explained, one word for Krishna is asama urdhva. Asama urdhva means nobody can be equal to Krishna, and obviously nobody can be greater than Krishna. So equality means minute qualitatively oneness. He has 64 qualities. We can have maximum 50. But that also we can have very minute particles. So therefore, gold particles and the gold mine. That example is very fitting here. So many times we discuss these examples: drop of ocean and the entire ocean, or the spark in the fire, big fire and the entire big fire, like that. So that's how, and then he says Brahma Bhuya Kalpate is not merging, because Bhakti Yoga means Bhagwan is there, Bhakta is there, and the loving exchange between the two, or this loving service by the Bhakta to the Bhagwan, is Bhakti, or the devotional service, like that. And another example he gives about the king and his personal assistants. So without being qualified to be a personal assistant to king, one must acquire the qualification. Thus the qualification is to become Brahman, or freed from material contamination. So Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate means becoming freed from three modes, or the effects of the three modes. So this is a Jnani section, Jnana section. So for the Jnani, it becomes becoming Aham Brahmasmi, I am the spirit soul. That is the platform, self-realization platform he comes to. But going further in the 18th chapter, we'll see 18.55. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na sochiti na kankshati samas sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. After coming to Brahma Bhuta platform, for a Jnani, he can attain to the pure devotional service if he gets the association of the devotees. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sadurlava. 7.19. So like that. So after the jnana, or after the jnana yoga, next is the bhakti yoga. So coming to the spiritual platform, becoming free from the three modes, coming to understanding I am Aham Brahmasmi, I am the spirit soul, I am not this body. Okay. Then one can further progress to the bhakti yoga. That is for Jnani. But for a devotee, it is not two stage like that. Prabhupada explains, when you see the sun in the daylight, nighttime you cannot see anything before coming to Krishna consciousness. When we become a pure devotee, God realization goes in hand with hand, self-realization. When we see the sun, we see ourselves also. In the sun's light, we are seeing sun, and also we are seeing ourselves, and we are seeing everything else very clearly in the broad daylight, in the sunlight. So for a devotee, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpane need not mean that devotee understands I am the spirit soul. That is included when it comes to the stage of self-realization or God realization in terms of Bhava Bhakti or a Prema Bhakti. So that understanding is already inbuilt or included, that I am not this body. It is not a devotee's meditation. Oh, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. What is devotee's meditation? I am the servant of Lord. What is that? Jiver Swarup where Krishna Nityadas. I am the servant of Krishna, means I am the servant of my spiritual master. That means I am the servant of all the devotees. I am the servant of all the jivas, part and parcel of Krishna. That is his meditation. I am the servant in all situations. That is his meditation. And not that, I am the Atma and not this body. Like that may be for Jnani, like that. So now somebody can read from the screen the quotations given by Srila Prabhupada. So Yamuna Vilas Das Prabhuji, can you please read if you are able to see from the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Bhagavad Gita 14-6 Brahma Bhuaya Kalpate. How by regularly discharging devotional service, Ritu Maharaj become transcendental. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the following example. If one has strong digestive power, after eating he automatically lights a fire within his stomach to digest everything and does not need to take medicine to aid his digestion. Similarly, the fire of devotional service is so strong that a devotee does not need to act separately to attain perfect knowledge or detachment from material attractions. A jnani may become detached from material attractions by prolonged discussions on subjects of knowledge and may in this way finally come to the Brahmabhuta stage. But a devotee does not have to undergo so much trouble. By virtue of his devotional service, he attains the Brahmabhuta stage without a doubt. The yogis and jnanis are always doubtful about their constitutional position. Therefore, they mistakenly think of becoming one with the Supreme. However, the devotee's relationship with the Supreme becomes manifest beyond all doubt. and he immediately understands that his position is that of an eternal servant of the Lord. Jnanis and yogis without devotion may think themselves liberated, but actually their intelligence is not as pure as that of a devotee. In other words, the jnanis and yogis cannot become factually liberated unless they become elevated to the position of a devotees.
Yes, so the Bhakti Yoga is a culmination of all the different paths like that. So here Srila Prabhupada is clarifying about Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. It is not about merging. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate means coming to the spiritual platform. For Gyanis and Yogis, it may be coming to I am the spirit soul, but for a devotee, it is not like that because that is not his meditation. He may be coming to the Bhava Bhakti stage or Prema Bhakti stage, God realization stage, like that. So that is actually his state. So therefore, actually, while in this particular verse 4.26, although we have now come to the devotional service, we have come to the Krishna consciousness movement, but still we are affected by the three modes. Our services, our behavior is also still governed by the three modes. And the key to come over them is actually coming to the platform of goodness, trying to abide by the instructions of Srila Prabhupada and all our acharyas like Srila Rupa Goswami in NOI, NOD, etc. And instructions of the Lord, of course, in Bhagavad Gita, etc. And that's how our spiritual master, and that's how by directly under the trying to fulfill their instructions, trying to please them, we can overcome the effect of the three modes, and we can come to the platform from sadhana bhakti. We can go to the Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. That is our understanding of Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So therefore, it is very important when we perform our devotional service, they should be at least in the mode of goodness, not in the mode of competition, trying to harm others, number games, etc., etc. Although in an organization, these things are unavoidable, but on an individual level, at least that should be our precaution we should be taking. So there's one more quotation, I think. So Kishore Madhav Prabhuji, if you can read that. I'll just try to progress this. Yes. Are you able to see from the screen now?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
1 second. Simply by fixing oneself in Krishna consciousness, engaging the senses in the service of the Lord, one is imperceptibly liberated. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Simply by discharging uncontaminated devotional service as prescribed in the scriptures, one becomes equal to Brahman. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. This means that the living entity in his original state is Brahman, because he is part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman, but simply because of his forgetfulness of his real nature of an eternal servitor of the Lord, he is overwhelmed and captured by Maya. His forgetfulness of his real constitutional position is Maya, otherwise he is eternally Brahman. When one is trained to become conscious of his position, he understands that he is servitor of the Lord. Brahman refers to a state of self-realization.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So our goal is not just to perform devotional service. Our goal is to perform is at least in the mode of goodness, and then try to transcend the three modes by performing the devotional service purely. Purely means what? That should be always our meditation. This is to please my Guru, and this is to please Krishna, and this is to please the devotees who are involved in those services, or those who are in the authority position, those who have given us the services, like that. That should be our constant meditation. Then it is possible that, automatically we can overcome. Without automatically means without without our conscious understanding, like that. So that's about the Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So next, somebody may ask a question, oh, by performing a Vyabhichari Bhakti, I will become Brahman, I will come to the Brahma Jyoti. Oh, that is not what I am actually desiring. So that may be the question in the mind. So therefore, Krishna is now going to expand his answer for clarifying and end this chapter by describing his own relationship with the Brahman. What is that actually Brahman which is being talked about? Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, that impersonal Jyoti or the impersonal light, like that. So he explains 14.27. ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस्य अव्ययस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च. Please read, Prasanna Gopal Prabhu.
Translation. I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of the ultimate happiness.
Okay. So, Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. I am the basis of this Brahman. What are the qualities or the characteristics or attributes of this Brahman? Amrutasya, immortal, avyayasya, it is imperishable, shashvatasya, dharmasya, it is eternal constitutional position, sukhasya, of the happiness, ekantikasya, ultimate happiness, it is the position of ultimate happiness, like that. Now, Srila Sridhar Swami, he comments on this particular verse. He says, Krishna is the concentrated form of Brahman, as the sun is the manifest, as the sun is the intensified form of light. Although Krishna and Brahman are non-different, Krishna is the support of Brahman. The completeness of Brahman is Krishna. Where it is said Krishna and the Brahma Jyoti or the Brahman is non-different, if you read that famous verse from Bhagavatam, Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabdate. So Vadanti tas tattvavidam tattvam yajnanam advayam. Advayam means it is non-dual, it is non-different. Brahma Jyoti, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. In one sense, they are non-different, and in another sense, it is different also. Because Srila Prabhupada explains, the student's understanding of Brahman, Brahma Jyoti, student's understanding of Paramatma, and student's understanding of Bhagwan is at different levels. When he understands Bhagwan, he realizes Bhagwan, realization of Brahman and Paramatma is already included. So, Sridhar Swami says, Krishna is the concentrated form of Brahman, just like sun is the concentrated, intensified form of light. Now, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, he explains this verse in relation to a jiva. So, just like Prabhupada is writing here in the second paragraph, the living entity, although Brahman by nature, has the desire to lord it over the material nature. So, Brahman by nature means here, Brahmano he again denotes certainly. Yeah, certainly. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says, for the Jiva who is Brahman, right? Jiva is Brahman, he is spiritual, right? Who has conquered death, Amrutasya in terms of conquering the death, who is unchangeable by fixed in his Swarupa. Swarup Siddhi means I am the servant of Krishna. So it may be in different rasas. It may be Madhurya, it may be Dasya, it may be Shanta, Vatsalya, etc. etc. So that is Swarupa. So he is unchangeable by being fixed in his Swarupa. Avvayasya cha. So that's how he explains. And he is also unchanging in the state of liberation. And is also unchanging in his great affection for me. That is for Krishna. Like that. So there Krishna says, I alone the form of bliss and knowledge, full of good qualities, beyond criticism, the best friend and the Lord of all. I alone am the shelter, Pratishtha. Like that he explains all these attributes in terms of in relation to the Jiva. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he explains it again differently. When he says, Krishna says, he explains, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. So he explains the basis of liberation. I am the one who gives liberation, that is Amrutasya, is it referring to the liberation. And how is this liberation? Which is Avyayasya, that means it is indestructible. Once you are liberated, then actually that is indestructible, like that. And then Shashvatasya Dharmasya, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the basis of the eternal method of bhakti. Means sadhana bhakti, he explains it to be Shashvatasya Dharmasya. Sadhana bhakti is our actually eternal nature. It is our eternal dharma, like that. Savai pumsan paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje. ahetuki apratihata yatma suprasiddhi. So that's the shashvatasya dharmasya. And sukhe sikantikasya cha. That means the basis of prema of the unalloyed devotee. When a devotee performs sadhana bhakti, goes to bhava bhakti and attains prema, Krishna prem, then that is the highest stage of ultimate happiness. Now, what Srila Prabhupada is doing in this particular verse, he's explaining all the attributes of this Brahman in terms of impersonal Jyoti. Because if you see word to word translation, he writes Brahmano hi pratishtaham. So Brahmana means of the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. And this is also correct when Srila Prabhupada explains the attributes in terms of Brahman, because Brahman is also immortal, Brahman is also imperishable, Brahman is also eternal, and then it's a constitutional position of ultimate happiness. How do you understand this? Brahman is constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Any guess? It's a little difficult question. This is very technical. Again, Arun Prabhu, yes.
Guessing, Prabhuji, that we understood in the last purport. Prabhupada said that for us, for devotees, uh, it means that we have realized that we are the servant of the Lord, and when we realize this, we can get the real happiness. What I understood.
Okay, fine. No problem. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. So, actually, I'll first explain what Srila Vishnu Thakur is explaining, how it is related to Bhakti Ananda. This ultimate happiness is actually relating to the Prema Bhakti. Because if you read Nectar of Devotion, there are 6 characteristics of pure devotional service are explained. Kleshagni, Shubhda, Moksha Laguta Krut, Sudurlabha, Sandrananda Visheshatma, and Sri Krishna Akarshani Chasa. So there are 6. Kleshagni, it removes all the miseries. Shubhda means all auspicious. Moksha Laguta Krut, the happiness in the pure devotional service makes the happiness of moksha or the liberation or impersonal liberation also insignificant. Moksha Lagu Takrut, it makes the happiness of moksha Lagu, like that. And then Sudurlabha, pure devotional service very rarely attained. It's Sudurlabha. Not only Durlabha, Sudurlabha. Krishna doesn't give himself to anyone so easily, like that. He may give you opulence, he may give you whatever material benefits you're asking, but he will not give himself to you. And then Sandra Ananda Visheshatma means that bhakti which is condense bliss. Sandra means condense, just like milk evaporate, the water is out, it becomes basundi, rabdi, and becomes condensed. Sandra Ananda. So the happiness in bhakti is condensed form, and that pure devotional service is Sri Krishna Akarshani Chasa. Means devotional service attracts Krishna. Krishna is not attracted by anything. Krishna is attracted to Srimati Radharani because Srimati Radharani is the devotional service personified. There is no greater devotee than Srimati Radharani. There is no greater servant than Srimati Radharani. So that is Sri Krishna Akarshanisa. It's Madan Mohana Mohini, like that. Okay. So these 6 characteristics are explained in Nectar of Devotion by Srila Rupa Goswami. They manifest at different stages of our bhakti. Sadhana bhakti, first 2, Kleshagni Shubhada. Then at Bhava Bhakti, first 4, Kleshagni, Shubhada, Moksha Laguta Krut, and Sudurlabha. And in the Prema Bhakti stage, all the 6 are manifest. Kleshagni, Shubhada, Moksha Laguta Krut, Sudurlabha, Sandrananda Visheshatma, and Sri Krishna Akarshanichasa. Why I'm telling you this? We are discussing about this ultimate happiness, right? Position of the ultimate happiness. So at each stage, there is a happiness. There is a happiness in bhakti at sadhana bhakti stage. There is a happiness in bhakti at bhava bhakti stage. And there is a happiness in bhakti at prema bhakti stage also. Now, what is that? Kleshagni, Kleshagni and Shubhada means it removes the distress, right? So obviously we come to a neutral stage. And Shubhada means there is a happiness found in sadhana bhakti which is superior to sense gratification happiness. We now all know happiness little bit about little bhakti, sadhana bhakti, and mostly we know the happiness of sense gratification, correct? So this happiness in sadhana bhakti is superior to sense gratification and liberation, but it is comparable also. Therefore, the sadhakas from time to time He actually sometimes here, sometimes there, sometimes into sense gratification, sometimes into the trying to do devotional service like that. So that's about the Kleshagni Shubhada. Moksha Laguta Krut means there is a happiness at Bhava Bhakti stage, which will make the happiness of liberation or merging into Brahman insignificant. Insignificant. And Sandrananda Visheshatma is the happiness in the Prema Bhakti stage, where there is no comparison of the happiness with happiness of liberation or sense gratification. They become they don't exist also in front of happiness of the Prema Bhakti, like that it is said. So therefore, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, when it is being said, Sukhasya Ekantikasya cha means it is the position of ultimate happiness. He compares that to the Prema Bhakti, the one who is in the Prema Bhakti stage, who has achieved Krishna Prema, for him that happiness is ultimate. But when Srila Prabhupada translate that in terms of impersonal Brahma Jyoti, then we can understand that how it is position of the ultimate happiness. It is in comparison to the happiness of sense gratification, etc., etc., like that. In our scriptures, it is said even the happiness of sense gratification is different at different level. Somebody is staying in the Dharavi Jhopadpatti, and they are, they are also having some sense gratification. Somebody is, staying, huge palatial bungalow, these also having sense gratification. Like that. So even the happiness, the sense gratification, happiness on the earth, and the sense gratification, happiness in the heavens. Again, that is, different levels of happiness. But comparing to the happiness in the Brahman, there is a Brahman, there's happiness in Brahman also. That is also ultimate in terms of compared to happiness of sense gratification on this earth. That way we can actually see this particular thing of Sukhasya Ekantikasya cha, like that. Okay. So I hope I was able to clarify a few things here. And then now going further, Prabhupada explains that the Brahman is the first stage of realizing the absolute truth. The attainment of Brahman consciousness life is the first stage in self-realization. At this stage, the Brahman realized person is transcendental to the material position, but he is not actually perfect in Brahman realization. I hope you are able to get where I'm reading from. This is the first paragraph I'm reading there. Second paragraph, Srila Prabhupada summarizes the whole entire 14th chapter. So, if he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to the Paramatma relation and then to the relation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of this in the Vedic literature. The four Kumaras were situated first in impersonal Brahman conception of truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. One who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. This Srila Prabhupada is writing based on a famous verse from the 10th canto, 2nd chapter, where demigods are praying to the Krishna in the womb of Mother Devaki, where there is said, Ye anya arvindaksha vimuktamaninas, tvayasta bhavat avishuddha buddhaya. Their intelligence is not pure. Aruya Krishnena param padam tatam patanti adho anadrit yushmada angraya. When they actually disregard a devotional service, they have misunderstanding about Krishna, his form is made up of Maya, etc. Then they can fall down from that position also. Their intelligence is impure, avishuddha buddhya, and they fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard to your lotus feet. And then Srila Prabhupada is giving references from Taittiriya Upanishad. When one understands the personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, Krishna, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. Sukhasya ekantikasya. In that context, this has been explained. And therefore, the devotional service is the safest platform. And he gives the analogy of the king, servant of the king, how he enjoys the equal opulence on the level of the king. The Supreme Lord is full of 6 opulences. And when a devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of these 6 opulences. The servant of the king enjoys on an almost equal level with the king. And so eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, the eternal life accompany devotional service. Therefore, realization of Brahman or eternity or imperishability is included in the devotional service. This is already possessed by a person who's engaged in devotional service. So Prabhupada is here, comparing with the Gyanis and the devotees. And the next paragraph is actually a summary of the entire 14th chapter. Somebody can read that. Sundari Palika Mataji, can you read the second paragraph of the purport? The living entity.
Yes, Prabhu. The living entity, although Brahman by nature, has the desire to lord it over the material world, and due to this he falls down. In this constitutional position, a living entity is above the three modes of material nature. But association with material nature entangles him in different modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Due to the association of these three modes, his desire to dominate the material world is there. By engagement in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, he is immediately situated in the transcendental position, and his unlawful desire to control material nature is removed. Therefore, the process of devotional service, beginning with hearing, chanting, remembering, the prescribed 9 methods for realizing devotional service, should be practiced in the association of devotees. Gradually, by such association, by the influence of spiritual master, one's material desire to dominate is removed, and one becomes firmly situated in Lord's transcendental loving service. This method is prescribed from the 22nd to the last verse of this chapter. Devotional service to the Lord is very simple. One should always engage in the service of the Lord, should eat the remnant of foodstuffs offered to the deity, smell the flower offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, see the places where the Lord has had his transcendental pastimes, read of the different activities of the Lord, his reciprocation of love with his devotees, chant always a transcendental vibration. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And observe the fasting days commemorating the appearances and disappearances of the Lord and his devotees. By following such a process, one becomes completely detached from all material activities. One who can thus situate himself in the Brahma Jyoti or the different varieties of the Brahman conception is equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in quality.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So that's the key verse where, that we have been discussing from 13.22. Purusha prakriti stohi bhungte prakriti jan gunan karanam gunasangasyo sadasadi unilinnas. Because he is being situated in the prakriti, in the three modes, is being influenced by the three modes, he's trying to enjoy or exploit this material world and trying to enjoy separately. Bhungte, that enjoyment tendency is very deep rooted in us, and therefore we are all trying to control, etc. And then therefore we are going into the lower and higher species of life. So Srila Prabhupada explains the entire process of Krishna consciousness, how the Navvidha Bhakti, and then also Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, etc. Those things also he explains. Sadhu Sangha Nama Shravan Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavad Shravan Mathura Va Shri Murti Shraddhaya Sevan. All these things also he is explaining the process of Krishna consciousness. So I think our time is up now for taking a break. So we'll come back after maybe at 12:45. Anybody has any questions or comments? What we discussed so far? Yes, Aruna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in the translation, the last part says that Brahman, impersonal Brahman, is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. So what I have understood is, like, Lord is realized in three forms: Paramatma, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. So the ultimate happiness basically lies in the devotional service of Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is when we attain or when we realize the Bhagwan form. So how impersonal Brahman can be the constitutional position of ultimate happiness? That is my question.
So we explained that na so far. So because Brahma Jyoti is also non-different than Krishna, so there is also happiness. It is not that there is no happiness. There is also happiness, but there is the happiness of serving Krishna is much more greater. Like that it is explained. So there are different grades of happiness. Happiness of sense gratification, happiness of sense gratification on earth, in the heavens, and then happiness of liberation in the merging in the Brahma Jyoti, and there is a happiness of Prema Bhakti. All these are different levels, like that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Basically, the answer is included in this line, which we read. Therefore, realization of Brahman or eternity or imperishability is included in devotional service. Means Brahman is included in Krishna. So
No, no,
that
not
is
like that. It is when you attain the stage of Prema Bhakti, when you attain Krishna Prem, that happiness is including happiness of, it is surpassing the not only includes, it includes and surpasses the happiness of sense gratification, the happiness of Brahman, etc. like that. So when somebody is a deceased person, the example is given, when somebody is a deceased person, he's having some distress, and if he comes to a healthy condition, his distress is gone of the disease. But let's say now he's engaged in some activity, he's playing some sports, right? So when he's playing some sports, he's more happy. But that happiness of becoming free from disease is already included when he's playing a particular sports, is it not?
yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so like that, you can understand that happiness of Brahman. Brahman, there is a happiness, but there is much more happiness in the Prema Bhakti, and the Prema Bhakti happiness includes and surpasses all other stages of happiness. That way you can understand.
Understood, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prasanna Gopal.
Prabhuji, this goodness, passion and ignorance. So goodness is very good to hear. But this passion and ignorance, like these are like these observation is that they comes very without informing, and they comes anytime in our life, and it makes very disturbance. And so even though we know details about that, and even though we know the what to do to avoid that, still as we are all in process, but still those keeps on coming. uh, so like the question comes like how to avoid them, and even after like avoiding or even after understanding that, oh, this is the result of passion or ignorance, still we may become careful, but still the next time still those comes again, and then it becomes like a helpless situation where we know but we cannot do anything. So is there any solution, or is there any
So there is
your
a solution. If you
Yeah.
read, this is the question asked by Arjuna in the 3rd chapter. Atakena prayuktoyam papam chariti purusha anichchanapi varshneya baladiva niyojita. So Krishna explains kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, okay. Or in other words, I'm reading from the first few lines of the purport, 3.37. Or in other words, the sense of love of God becomes transformed into lust as milk is in contact with sour tamarind is transformed into yogurt. Then again, when lust is unsatisfied, it turns into wrath. Wrath is transformed into illusion, and illusion continues the material existence. Therefore, lust is the greatest enemy of the living entity, and it is lust only which includes the pure living entity to remain entangled in the material world. Okay. So this lust is nothing but bhungte purusha prakriti stoi bhungte prakriti jan guna. Okay. It's different forms, different levels of lust or understanding of lust. It's not just man and woman. So it's about enjoying, right? Now, wrath is a manifestation of the mode of ignorance. These modes exhibit themselves as wrath and other corollaries. If, therefore, the mode of passion, instead of being degraded into mode of ignorance, is elevated to the mode of goodness by the prescribed method of living and acting, then one can be saved from the degradation of the wrath by spiritual attachment. This is a solution also given by the Krishna in the last verse 3.42. By the spiritual strength, you overcome, this eternal enemy of lust. So what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning is, our lifestyle prescribed method of living and acting means our activities, our lifestyles, etc. They should, rather than more of a time in the passion, we should come to the platform of goodness. And how we can do that? By trying to fulfill the instructions of spiritual master, the acharyas. All these instructions Srila Prabhupada is giving in his purport, Bhaktivedanta purports, and our spiritual masters, they are telling us in their lectures, in their Vyas Puja lectures, etc. We should be very, in our initiation lectures, etc. We should very carefully note them and try to perform our sadhana, swadhyay, seva, sangha. Very carefully we choose them. We should place ourselves in good position in all these 4-5 items. So by that prescribed method of living and acting, slowly, slowly the influence of mode of passion and ignorance will come down. It may not be possible us to do immediately, because if I'm working for 10, 12, 14 hours, traveling in the traffic, majority of my 24 hours, 6, 7 hours goes in sleeping, 6 to 8 hours. The remaining time, 14, 15, 13, 10, 12, 13, 14 hours I'm spending in work, then mostly work means it is passion and ignorance only, right? So at least if not now, or whatever little time I'm having, we should, actually focus on our sadhana, some daily basic 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever, reading, hearing, while traveling, commuting, we should hear spiritual master Srila Prabhupada regularly. By doing this, by, having their in touch with their Vani, their instructions constantly, then slowly, slowly, although we are doing job, we can do the needful, or at least we can plan our life in a such a way that in going further, we can completely focus on our devotional service. As Srila Prabhupada mentions in that purport 1:15:39 in the Bhagavatam, when Yudhishthira Maharaj retires, so he says, we should not have that suicidal policy of, working till the fag end of our life. So we should plan our life in a such a way. If not now, or whatever little time having now, we should be very serious and sincere in our sadhana, in our Krishna consciousness. We should not just do it as a routine, Oh, today's Sunday, chalo, आज टेम्पल जाते हैं, आज अच्छा से मतलब प्रसाद लेंगे, आज घर में कुकिंग की जरूरत नहीं. It becomes like, our socializing like that. Not doing like that. Very focused, intense way we should do that. Whatever time we have now, whatever Bhakti Shastri you're doing, take this opportunity to, go deeper into the Srila Prabhupada's purport. That will give, focus on your sadhana, seva, etc. Our seva bhav, service attitude. More, it is said, more important than the service is the service attitude behind it. So we should go deeper into our devotional service. And like that, we should try to improve our Krishna consciousness position, whatever time we have, and we should plan our life going further. Our time for Krishna consciousness should increase and not decrease, like that. That is my little understanding.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Yes, Arun Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
In understanding Mam Eva Prapadyate in 14.26, so we understood that Eva means certainly, and then how Krishna is demanding that only to me and not Shiva or Brahma. And you explained that how that Brahma and Shiva are incarnations of passion and ignorance. So they can't take us out of the clutches of material nature because they are themselves in some modes, that is passion and ignorance. So I have asked these questions earlier to other devotees also, but like I wanted to ask it once again, that although Lord Shiva has taken the responsibility of representing the mode of ignorance, and Brahma has taken the responsibility of mode of passion. So is it just a comparative study for us to understand and then to surrender to Vishnu, or is it philosophically also philosophically also understood that we should only surrender to Vishnu? Or is it that we are the followers of Bhagavad Gita, or in one sense Vishnu, Lord Krishna, therefore we are saying in this way? Otherwise, because now even in modern times also and earlier also, we hear that there have been some dispute between the followers of Vishnu and the followers of Shiva, that who is great or something like that. So what should be the correct understanding to follow as a sadhaka?
No, I'm not very clear about your exact question. So you're saying we should understand Vishnu is supreme or Krishna is supreme based on Bhagavad Gita, or what else?
No, no. My question is
Just
like,
repeat the question. Just repeat the question in one line.
uh, my question is like, is it a comparative study and then we go to Vishnu, towards Vishnu, or is it philosophically proven that we should go, or a devotee trying to attain perfection should go to Vishnu?
It is everything, no? It is philosophical, it is by comparison, it is by what Lord Brahma says in Brahma Samhita, it is what Lord Shiva says in the Rudra Gita in 4th canto, it is what Lord Shiva says, the same verse if you read 7.14, just give me 1 second. 7.14, if you read, purport the last lines, what Shiva says, yeah. Yeah, the purport, last one, yeah. The Vedas confirm this as the phrase Tameva Viditva, or freedom is possible only by understanding Krishna. Even Lord Shiva affirms that liberation can be achieved only by the mercy of Vishnu. Lord Shiva says, Mukti Pradata Sarvesham Vishnur Evana Samshaya. There is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. So it is based on what Lord Shiva says, it is based on what Lord Brahma says, it is based on what Krishna himself says, it is based on all the pastimes. In comparison, there is a fight between Lord Shiva and Lord Krishna. If you read Bhagavatam 10th canto, I think towards the end, for the Banasur, there is a fight, and how Lord Shiva is defeated. There are many, many demons who were great devotees of Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Hiranyakashipu was there, Ravana was there, the devotee of Lord Shiva. But they could not help him when they were actually fighting against Vishnu or Lord Rama. So by comparison, by philosophy, by what is being said in Gita, Bhagavad, and by what all the acharyas and what Brahmaji and Shivji themselves they're saying, by all these understanding, we should be convinced without any doubt that Krishna is the only shelter. There is no other shelter.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Yes, Mukund Pad Guruji.
Prabhuji, what exactly the difference between Sattvagun and Vishuddha Sattvagun? And like we have seen in the many Leelas as well as many pastimes also, or even in living entities also, we used to see the modes gets, means if somebody in Sattva-guna, it may fall back to the Tamoguna also, it may also happen. So how exactly Vishuddha Sattva-gun is beyond these three gunas, and I just need to understanding in this regard.
So there is a verse in the 4th canto which Lord Shiva is saying what is actually Vasudeva state, Vishuddha Sattva state, where we can constantly be in touch with the Lord Sri Krishna. We can directly talk to him, see to him. Where there is Vishuddha Sattva means the mode of goodness in the material world is not pure. It is always tinged with goodness, passion and ignorance. Okay, that is one understanding. But Vishuddha Sattva means it is the Chit Shakti of the Lord. It is not just goodness is there, passion is zero, and ignorance zero. So therefore it is Vishuddha Sattva. No, it is not like that. Vishuddha Sattva means it is Vasudeva state where we can be face to face with Lord Sri Krishna. When the devotee advances from sadhana bhakti to bhava bhakti, prema bhakti, what are the various symptoms, how he hears the flute of Krishna, how he sometimes gets the darshan of Krishna, and how it becomes constant later on in the prema bhakti, all that has been explained. So Vishuddha Sattva is not just free from the passion and ignorance, it means it is the chit potency of the Lord, where we can talk to the God or we can talk to Krishna, we can see him and we can have him realization his. That is at least theoretically we can understand. But it is also the correct understanding that in the material world, goodness is never in a pure form. It is always tinged with passion and ignorance. That also is my understanding. Both ways we can understand.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Madhavarinam Prabhuji.
So my question is, though I know it, that those who are realized on the Brahman platform or impersonal Brahman, so they fall down. But here it is also said that it is the ultimate position, ultimate happiness, constitutional position of ultimate happiness. But still they fall down. So and also this Supreme Impersonal Brahman realization is also the realization of Supreme Personality of Godhead. But why they fall down to material world?
So can you please study 10 to 32, the purport by, it is by Srila Prabhupada only, yeah, because up to 13 chapters is given purports. So 10 to 32, where this is being stated about the falling down. I have also heard from the scholarly devotees that actually when somebody attains to Brahman, he will not fall down from there. He can continue to stay there, or he can progress from there also by the mercy of the great devotees like Narada and Lord Shiva, etc. But they generally don't fall down by after attaining the Brahman. This is what I heard. Now, this is we need to go deeper into this understanding. And if we study the purport of 10 to 32, and maybe we can discuss this one-on-one rather than discussing it in the class right now, because this is a very deep topic. So Srila Prabhupada gives the understanding in short is because their buddhi is avishuddha buddhaya, their buddhi is not purified, they don't take to the devotional service of Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, from that position also they can come down. That is the understanding Srila Prabhupada has given, and they consider themselves as liberated. But this needs to be elaborated, and there's a lot of scope for this. This needs to be, I am not also very sure about this. I will study this and I'll talk to you one-on-one on this particular things. But meantime, you can study 10 to 32 first.
And also, Prabhuji, here in this Mamsa Yoga Vichara in this sloka, that Prabhupada clearly writes that this Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate means to be in quality same with Krishna, but not this impersonal realization.
He says that. Which line you're reading from?
Because here it is said, no, as gold particles are part of gold mine, thus the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold. And also he gives another example of that.
No, where is the line? Just tell me the line which you read last.
To be in Krishna, it is, I can see, there is no paragraph. The Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of Supreme, as gold particles are part of a gold mine.
Yes.
So, and also there is another sentence, if one is not situated in the same transcendental position of the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be personal assistant to the king, one must acquire the qualification. Thus, the qualification is to become Brahman or freed from material contamination. That means when devotee is like serving unalloyed devotional service, then they become in quality with the Lord. So that is the position of, that is to become Brahman. Did I understand right? Because this was
yes, correct. So see, when we say qualitatively oneness and quantitatively difference from the drop of ocean or spark of the fire, so when we say that, it is just an analogy to understand and make a point that quantitatively we are different, but even qualitatively, are we same with 1 to 1? Krishna has 64 qualities, so we also have 64 qualities. Is it the understanding of a devotee that qualitatively oneness? No, it is not. Brahmaji, any living entity, how many qualities he can have maximum? 78% or 50 qualities 50. Out of 64. Shivji has 55. Lord Vishnu or Narayan has 60. And 4 qualities are only Krishna is having. We know that, right? You know this? Yes. So when we say qualitatively oneness, it is not 1 to 1 also. Like 64 is Krishna and we are 64. It is means we have gone beyond the 3 modes and we are on the spiritual platform now. Now also we are doing service, devotional service. But is our devotional service pure? No. When a pure devotee serves Krishna, he is in one with quality with the Krishna and his service is pure. So actual devotional service starts when we become a pure devotee. That is also meaning. And now our devotional service is contaminated. I am singing so that, people they say, admire, oh, how great singer I am. So I am singing not only for pleasure of Krishna or Guru or devotees, but for my pleasure also, like that. So our devotional service is not pure. When one becomes a pure devotee, he can be said to be qualitatively oneness, and his devotional service is also pure, like that.
Here to comes on the level of Brahman does not mean the impersonal effulgence.
No. If for a devotee it means to become pure devotee. Like that you can understand. Become qualitatively oneness with Krishna means to become a pure devotee and then serve Krishna. Srila Prabhupada serving Krishna and we are serving Krishna. Srila Prabhupada serving his spiritual master and we are serving. There's a difference, na? Is it not? So that way you can understand. From the pure devotee's perspective, it is being said. Same with the quality with Krishna, like that. Like Prabhupada gives example of Arjuna. Arjuna was almost same platform of Krishna, means he was also spiritually elevated. He is a pure devotee. Therefore, they can be friends like that. Otherwise, it is not possible for an ordinary living entity to be on the same platform with Krishna because we are not pure devotees like that. So that is the meaning of qualitative oneness or having the same platform. Servant of the king serving the king means pure devotee serving Krishna. Like that you can understand. Okay, Prabhuji? Okay, so where are we now? We're, I think, 1 o'clock now. So we'll come back in 5 minutes only. And next time I will try to take these questions at the end. You can go on for half an hour, 1 hour also. I'll be available. But otherwise, our discussion time will be reduced. Our verses covering will be reduced. So that's my worry actually. So we'll come back in 5 minutes. So 6 minutes past 1 o'clock, we'll come back. Hare Krishna. Discussed from the chapter number 14, the 3 sections. The first is the characteristics of the 3 modes or how they condition the living entity. Secondly, we also saw the second section. What is the effect on the living entity of the conditioning? What kind of activities he performs? What is the effect of it? What is his destination after death, etc. we saw. And then we also, the most importantly, we saw how to overcome the 3 modes. I mean, what is the symptoms of one who has overcome? What are the activities, behavior, etc. And similarly, what is the key to becoming gunatita? So that answer is also given by the Lord. Sagunan samaj mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. So now that's the end of this chapter number 14. And now in the 15th chapter, the yoga of the Supreme Person, the Purushottam Yoga. Here also, now anticipating few questions or doubts in Arjuna's mind, where he said about that the material world is made up of 3 modes. So what is the nature of this material world composed of the 3 modes, and how this jiva is able to surpass these 3 modes or this material world by devotion to you? What is the nature of your dham, and what is this Brahman, and which you are saying, who are you, the basis of Brahman? On anticipating all these questions, Krishna will start speaking the 15th chapter with an analogy of this material world, comparing it to a banyan tree, Urdhumulam Adashakham, like this. So this 15th chapter, where also this 3 shloki Bhagavad Gita comes, 15.16, 17, 18. There are 3 sections, MMS. The first M stands for going from material world to the spiritual world. That is from 15.1 to 15.11. And then 12 to 15, 15.12 to 15.15, those 4 verses. The second M, the maintainer, how we can appreciate Krishna as the maintainer on the cosmic level as well as on the individual level, how Krishna is maintaining. And then the lastly 16 to 20, where this 3 shloki Bhagavad Gita comes. So it's actually the summary, summary of the Vedanta Sutra. So material world to the spiritual world, 15.1 to 11. Maintainer, how Krishna is the maintainer, 15.12 to 15. And 16 to 20, summary of the Vedanta Sutra. So we'll go now a little quickly. So any analogies before we discuss the analogy of the Ashwatha tree upside down? Any other analogies do you know this material world is compared to? You must have heard, heard about material world compared. Yes, Arun Prabhu?
One is Dukhalem and Shashwadam.
Okay, but what is the analogy of given?
Okay.
Yeah, like we give the jail analogy. Have you heard about jail analogies? Material world compared to a jail, and our bodies like the dresses they give. We see in the films those checkered dresses, etc. So that's one analogy of the jail. Any other analogy? If you read 5th canto, King Rahuguna and the Jad Bharat discussion, there he gives the analogy of the forest. This material world or the material existence is compared to forest, living in the forest, and how there are plunderers, 6 senses, animals like jackals, wolves, etc. Like, wife, children, other relatives, etc. So it's given the material existence is given the analogy of forest. Then if you read 11th canto, there is the analogy of ocean. Bhavabdhim, we say always, right? Material world is like a great ocean, and crossing this ocean is a great job actually, right? Puman bhavabdhim na taretsa atmaha. Anyway, so that's compared to the ocean. Yes, Prasanna Gopal.
Hospital, material world is compared like hospital also.
Yes. Material world is compared to hospital. Prabhupada says, mental hospital, everybody's like mental here, I'm this, I'm that. But actually, if you come to Krishna consciousness, there, we cure your this madness of enjoyment and madness of post and position. And we'll tell you what is our real position and these things. Yes. Srila
Secondly,
Prabhupada.
on the toilet also, just do the necessary things and come out of it. Don't get attached.
Yes, very nice. So it's compared to the toilet also, where we don't try to set things, nowadays in the five-star hotels and big hotels, if you go, they will have the entire library and do this, do that in the toilet itself. We are not trying to make toilet a better place to live. We are trying to do our job and come out of it like that. So that's the material world. Okay, fine. And in the first canto, I think first or second chapter, one of the purpose, Srila Prabhupada gives the analogy of the material world to a movie, right? When we are seeing the movie, something happening on the screen, we get so much enamored, we get into the emotions, we cry, we laugh by looking at the screen. Actually, it has nothing to do with our real life. Our real life is different only, right? So that's how he gives the analogy of a movie and our real life and real life, REEL and REAL. So now here Krishna uses the analogy of a Ashwatha tree. So let's see what he has to say about it. So 15.1, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Urdhamulamadashakam Ashwatham Prahuravyam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Vedas Vedavit. Please read Aruna Mataji translation.
Yes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its root upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas.
Okay, thank you. So we'll directly now, without reading, we'll just discuss the purport. I hope you have been reading purports before coming into the discussion. If you are not, please come prepared by reading at least. So you will have some questions, some doubts, you will understand better when we discuss them. So Urdhamulam Adashakham. The tree's root, Moolam means roots, they are Urdha, they are going up. And Adashakam, Shakam are going, branches are going down. So have you seen any tree anywhere? We all know that this we can see on the bank of a river. When there's a real tree and when reflection is there in the water, we see it is upside down like that. Correct. Okay. So the meaning of this Urdhumulam Adashakam, the material world, is the analogy is explained by Srila Prabhupada. The topmost planet in this material world, which is that in this Brahmanda, that is Satyaloka or Brahmaji's planet. Correct. So Brahmaji's planet is the root. Why? Because Brahmaji was born from the navel, from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and he started creating everything. Everything started from there. So that's how we can understand this. And then other Shaka means all the planetary Bhur, Bhuva, Swar, all these lokas are, below this Brahmaji's planets. So that's how the different branches or shakhas of this tree, of this material world, that way we can also understand. Ashwatham Prahur Avyayam. This Ashwatha tree, Ashwatha is also people tree, but here it is being explained as the banyan tree because there are secondary roots also. It will come in the next verses. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada explains as it is the Ashwatha tree means banyan tree. So Prahur Avyayam. It is said this Ashwatha tree is Avyayam. How it is Avyayam? Can somebody explain? In 13th chapter also. Material world is Avyayam or it is being destroyed? It is being created, maintained, and destroyed. But why it is called Avyayam? Yes, Kishore Madhav. One second.
It is ever expanding. It is still ever expanding. The universe is still ever expanding.
Okay, you are going into science now. Hubble's constant. It is ever expanding. Okay, fine. Now, Aruna Mata, you want to say? Yes? How material world is Avyayam? Okay, what is Avyayam? Tell us. What is Avyayam? Avyayam means?
Eternal.
Correct. Yes. So how it is
So,
eternal?
because the material world is actually always there in the body of Mahavishnu. Sometimes it's manifests and sometimes it is unmanifested. That
Correct.
is why we call it
Correct.
Akhilaya.
Yes, absolutely. So we saw Anadi. Anadi also we saw in respect to the living entity and also with respect to the Prakriti or the material world, right? So the elements are always there. Sometimes they are manifested, otherwise they are in the Pradhana form. From Pradhana, when Mahavishnu glances, then it becomes the Mahatattva and all the creation further takes place like that. So similarly, uh, another way we can understand this away is when you go to the bank of a river or a lake, you see there's a real tree and you see the reflection. Can you see the reflection in the night time? No, the reflection is manifested or unmanifested, but the real tree is always there, right? Which is there on the bank. Night time also the real tree exists. Similarly, the spiritual world always exists, but it's perverted reflection, this material world. Sometimes is seen, sometimes is not seen. In Brahmaji's daytime, it is seen. When there's a Brahmaji's night, it is avyakta. Or when it is Brahmaji's life is over, it is avyakta. When again Brahmaji born, his day starts, again it becomes manifested like that. Chandams yasya paranani. It's paranani, its leaves are called as chandas. Chandas means what? Vedic hymns. There are various Vedic hymns, right? So they are stated. So why they are compared to the leaves? Because a tree becomes attractive by how many green leaves, how nice it is, hara bhara, na, we say in Hindi. When it is full of leaves, it becomes attractive. Similarly, Vedas, there are a lot of attractive hymns. If you read, what is that? 2.43-44, in that, Yamimam Pushpitam Vacham Pravadanti Avipaschita. Those have a wrong understanding. Those who are Vedavada Ratas, you must have studied this in Ishopanishad also, is one of the categories. So Vedavada Ratas, what do they say? What else is there in the Vedas other than having a good birth, doing good karma, pious activities, going to the heavenly planets, enjoying Somras, Nandan Karanya, Apsaras, etc. That's all is there in the Vedas. What else is there in the Vedas? So these Vedic hymns, this Karmakanda portion hymns, the verses, the shlokas, the recitations, they are very attractive because those who are behind fruity activities, they become attracted by these hymns, by this Karmakanda portion of the Vedas, and that's how they're compared to the leaves, and they become attractive, very attractive, like that. Yastam Vedasa Vedavit. Yastam, somebody is not on mute. Kishore Madhav, okay, I'll mute him. Yastam Vedasa Vedavit. One who knows the tree as a whole, he knows it. Means one who knows the trees knows the Vedas. Means what? When it is said that a person knows the Vedas, it is assumed that he knows how to cut off attachment to this material world. If one knows that process, he actually knows the Veda. He actually knows the Vedas. So one who knows how to cut down the nature of the tree and how to cut down, it will come in the next verses also. Asanga Shastrina. We have to, by the weapon of detachment, we have to cut down the tree. What is the meaning of cut downing the tree? We cannot cut down the material world. We cannot make it zero, right? But we have to cut down our attachment to this tree. We are sitting on the various branches. It will come in the next verses also. How the various living entities are situated on the various planetary systems up and down in various species, lower and upper species, like that. So we are attached to this. We are holding on to the tree. So we have to become detached by getting attached to Krishna or getting attached to the Bhakti, the process of Bhakti. And that is the weapon of detachment. So we'll discuss that also. So that is the meaning of cutting down this tree. Not that, we can finish off the material world. That is not possible. Like that. Okay. And then reflection. Reflection, it is on the water, on the bank of a river, right? What is the reflection of this material world? Is a reflection of the spiritual world. But it is based on what? I mean, we are comparing one part of the analogy to the actual thing, right? So what Prabhupada says in the purport? Reflection is on the water. So spiritual world is reflected on what? Water is compared to what in this analogy? If anybody has read the purport, he will know it very clearly. Okay, anyway, we don't have time now. So the reflection just on the bank, it is on the water. Here, this is the material world. It is the reflection on the desire of the living entity. Bhungte prakriti jan gunan. Because we want to desire, enjoy separately from Krishna, exploit the material world. So on that desire, the spiritual world is perverted. The perverted reflection is this material world. Why the Lord has created material world? Because we want to enjoy. That is our desire. The conditioned soul desires to enjoy separately. Therefore, the material world is being created. And we want to be controller, proprietor, enjoyer here, like that. Okay. And what about the entanglement on this tree? How long one can stay on this tree? Please answer. How long we can stay?
As long as we desire.
Yes, as long as we desire. Yes. Yamuna Vilas Prabhu, same answer. Yes.
Yes, Prajit.
As long as we desire, because the Lord's creation is so wonderful that you can keep on going from one branch to another, keep transmigrating. As long as you desire, you can stay here. And what are the fruits of this particular tree? The fruits represent the results of the living entity's activities, namely religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These are the purushartha. Every purusha, every living entity should aim for them. But what is actually pancham purusharth? That is actually bhakti. That also we know. Correct? So now the process of extrication, how we can get out of the entanglement. So in the third paragraph, Prabhupada is writing, the process of extrication should be understood. In the previous chapter, it has been explained that there are many processes by which we to get out of the material entanglement. And up to the 13th chapter, we have seen that devotional service to the Supreme Lord is the best way. Now, the basic principle of devotional service is detachment from the material activities and attachment to the transcendental service of the Lord. The process of breaking attachment to the material world is discussed in this chapter. Okay. So where is this being discussed? So now the next verse, 15.2, it will come. अधश्च ऊर्ध्वं प्रसुतास्तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रबाला अधश्च मूलानि अनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके. Yes, Sri Gaura Gangaputra Prabhu, can you read translation 15.2?
The branches of this tree extend downward and upward. But three modes of material nature. The twinges are objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to protect actions of human society.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go to the purport and just study that. So this Ashwatha tree compared to the material world. So adhascha urdhvam prasutastasya shaka. Adha urdhva means down and up. Prasutastasya shaka means the branches of these trees are spread up and down. So what does this mean? These earlier we have seen the branches are up and down means various planetary systems. But now it's not only planetary systems, but there are various living entities. Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says the branches of the tree, material bodies, are spread down and up. They spread downwards by jivas committing sinful acts and being born in the bodies of men and animal, and they spread upward by jivas performance of pious acts and being born as devas and gandharvas. That means planetary systems are obviously there up and down. Similarly, there are living entities, they're situated everywhere up and down also. So who are the up? Those who are pious, they're up, and those who are down, they're the ones who are actually sinful, like that. So the branches are also up and down means the planetary systems and the living entities situated on those planetary systems, planets. Guna pravruddha. Pravruddha means nourishes. What is nourishing the tree is the water which comes, which we pour, or the rainwater which comes. That nourishes the trees. But what is nourishes the material world is the guna pravruddha. The three modes of material nature, they actually nourish this material world. So karanam guna sangasyo sadasad unisenso. And Srila Prabhupada explains, sometimes we find that the tract of land is barren for the want of sufficient water, and sometimes the tract is very green. Similarly, where particular modes of material nature are proportionately greater in quantity, the different species of lives are manifested accordingly. So ignorance, passion, goodness, therefore goodness is there in the up, in the middle there's a passion, in the lower, you see more of a ignorance, like that. So that's how, various places, various modes are more prominent, and that's how, the modes are actually nourishing the tree, that is the water in the form of three modes. Vishaya Pravala. Pravala means the twigs, the branches, and there are twigs further, right? So Vishaya Pravala means there are senses and there are sense objects. For the eyes, there is a form. For the ears, there is a sound. For the nose, there is a smell. Like this, sound, form, touch, so on. These are actually the vishayas, the twigs. They are actually meant for the different senses. So different animals, you will see their senses are differently developed, and they have different ideas of sense gratification, like that. Okay. Adhasya mulani anusantatani karmanubandhini manushya loke. Anusantatani, they are extended. Adhasya mulani means down. The roots are going down also. Roots are going down means when you see a banyan tree, it has a lot of branches and there are some roots which are going down from the banyan tree. There's one main root and there are subsidiary roots also. So, right? So, what is the subsidiary roots compared to the which are going down? They are compared to the attachments and aversions. So, a lot of whatever we like, we are attached to it. Whatever we don't like, we are averse to it, right? Attachments and aversions, like that. One second. Huh? So I'm just trying to find out. This is chapter 52. Yeah. The twigs of the tree are considered to be second paragraph. No? Yeah, second paragraph. The twigs of the tree is considered to be the sense objects. By development of different modes of nature, we develop different senses. And by the senses, we enjoy different varieties of sense objects. The tips of the branches are senses, the ears, nose, eyes, etc., which are attached to the enjoyment of different senses. The twigs are sound, form, touch, etc., and sense objects. The subsidiary roots are attachment and aversions, which are byproducts of the different varieties of suffering and sense enjoyment. The tendencies towards the piety and impiety are considered to develop from these subsidiary roots, which spread in all directions. The real root is Brahmaloka. We already discussed that, right? And various fruity activities also we discuss. Okay. The planet of human beings is considered the field of activities. Okay. Now the next verse, 3, 4. The third and fourth verse, where now how we need to cut down with the weapon of detachment with determination. That will be discussed. Narupamasseha tathopalabhyate nanto nachardina cha sampratishtha ashvattamenam suvirudhamulam asanga shastrina drudena chitva tata padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuya tameva chadyam purusham prapadde yatha pravritti prasuta purani. Please read somebody. Madhav Harina Prabhuji, can you read translation?
Yes, Prabhu. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial.
Okay, fine. So narupamasseha tathopalabhyate. The real form of the tree is not perceived. Why it is not perceived to the common man? Because they are actually ignorant about all these descriptions in the scriptures, etc., right? This analogy, etc. So they are not able to actually see the root or the form of this tree, like that. And when we are entangled on this particular tree in this material expansion, one is not able to see that, like the scientists are trying to find out moon and Mars and Jupiter and this and that. They are not able to see how far this tree particularly extends. That is called as na anta, na cha ardi, na cha sampratishta. How it is being, where it is end, where it starts, they are not able to fathom actually, like that. So now comes the important part, asanga shastrena. So the word asanga is very important in this connection, because the attachment for sense enjoyment and lording it over the material nature is very strong. So it's going back to the Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhunkte Prakriti Jan Gunan. That is the basic understanding we should have. Why we are here? We are trying to enjoy separately from Krishna, being therefore we are situated in this material world and we are trying to enjoy. So asanga shastrena means what is being said? Ashwatthaменam suviruda moolam asanga shastrena drudena chitva. With determination, with the weapon of detachment, we should cut down. So detachment for a devotee, again, this is a Jnana section, right? A Jnani we read earlier also. A Jnani may actually develop detachment. They will not, they will take sannyas, they will not perform any work, because they think by performing work, we get attached, we get entangled. So therefore, they are trying to detach and they're trying to study the Vedanta Sutra, the Upanishads, etc. And by Shastrically, they're trying to find out naiti, or this is not absolute truth, this is not absolute, this is matter, this is spirit, this is real, this is unreal, etc., etc. So like that, they're trying to develop detachment artificially by studying scriptures only. But whereas for a devotee, the detachment is not to be separately cultivated like that. I know when it is said in Bhagavatam, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Pravijita Janeti Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam cha yad ahetukam. Means when we are trying to perform devotional service, when we try to understand the nature of the material world, nature of the soul, nature of the super soul, spiritual world, automatically we develop detachment, we develop distaste towards this material world, like that. So our process is more of a becoming attached to Krishna, utilizing everything in Krishna's service. Detachment is automatically developed, like that. So a devotee does not endeavor separately for detachment. In NOD also, Gyan and Vairagya, they are not the angas of bhakti, it is explained. So Vairagya we don't have to cultivate separately. That is the point. So our Vairagya is what? Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means what? Whatever we have, whatever talents, whatever skills, whatever possessions, material things we have, we don't have to reject them. Anasaktasya vishayam yathayam upayunjitam nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagya uchyate. You will study in NOD. So yukta vairagya means not getting attached to the objects of this world, but using everything as per its utility in Krishna's service. And then that is called as yukta vairagya. Everything is Krishna's energy. So why not utilize it in Krishna's service? That is what Srila Prabhupada says. One Mayavadi was saying, his photo was there in the newspaper, Gaurang Prabhu was telling, and there's a lot of plate of money, dollars, and he was rejecting those dollars. No, I don't want. Prabhupada, somebody showed this picture of this yogi to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, you click my one photo and publish it in the paper. You put all the dollar notes in that plate. I will put it like this, my hand around the plate, and you take my photograph and you publish it. Because he said, we need all the money in the world we can utilize in propagating Krishna consciousness. Just for building one TOEP, how many thousands of crores of rupees are required? So whatever is there, we can utilize in Krishna's service, like that. So that's our definition of Vairagya, or understanding of Yukta Vairagya, like that. Okay. And therefore, one must learn detachment by discussion of the spiritual science based on authoritative scriptures, and one must hear from the person who are actually knowledgeable, who are in knowledge. As a result of such discussion in the association of devotees, one comes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then the first thing one must do is to surrender to Him, like that. And the cutting down the tree is not our main goal, right? What is it stated in the next verse is, Tata padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuya. That parampada, that supreme abode, that spiritual world, the real tree should be our goal, not just cutting down or detachment from this material world, but the goal should be our real tree, the spiritual world. Going where? After going where? Na nivartanti bhuya. We don't come back to this material world. And tameva chadyam purusham prapadde. We should surrender to that purusha, that supreme Lord, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. That should be our goal. So here it is being said, the description of that place, whence having gone, one never returns to this false reflected tree is given here. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original root of the whom, from whom everything has emanated. To gain the favor of that personality of Godhead, one has only to surrender, and this is a result of performing devotional service by hearing, chanting, etc. He is the cause of extension of the material world. This has already been explained by the Lord himself. Aham sarvasya prabho. I am the origin of everything. Therefore, to get out of the entanglement of this strong banyan tree of material life, one must surrender to Krishna. As soon as one surrenders to Krishna, one becomes detached automatically from this material extension. So that's the same thing explained in the Nectar of Devotion also. The first thing is to Guru Padashray, seek the shelter of a Guru and take Diksha from him and take Shiksha from him. That's actually for us surrendering to Krishna, means surrendering to Guru, surrendering to the process of devotional service. Because we took a lot of question answers in the break time, almost half an hour, I would like to go maybe till 13:45, I mean another 7-8 minutes more. Anybody has to do anything else, they can go off and they can hear the recording if you desire. Otherwise, I'll just take 1 or 2 more verses and then we'll stop. Okay, next one. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandver vimukta sukha dukkha sanger gachanti mudha padamavyam tat. So, how we can attain those padamavyam tat? So that is being explained here. So please, Prasanna Gopal Prabhu, have you read? You can read translation.
Those who are free from the false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with the material lust, who are freed from the dualities of the happiness and distress, and who unbewildered, who know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to the eternal kingdom.
So now how to attain the real tree, the spiritual world, spiritual kingdom, Vaikuntha planets, that is being explained. What are the qualities we need there? What are the things we need to overcome? So first things, nirmana moha. Nirmana means actually, what is explained here? Nirmana means nirmana, without the false prestige or pride. That is the first qualification. If you remember 13.8 to 12 we studied. What is the first one? Amanitvam. Amanina manadena means humility first. First we have to develop humility. As well as Radhanath Swami Maharaj explains that humility is not a part of devotional service. Humility is the essence of devotional service or devotional life. It's not part, it is the heart, it is the essence, it is the heart of devotional service, like that. So many times he quotes the verse, Trunadapi Sunichina Tarurapi Saishna. That is the always emphasis in his classes, lectures. Nirmana moha. Moha means what? Illusion. Thinking something to be something else. Thinking myself to be this body, my social position, post, etc. Maya, that which is not. I am not this body. That is actually the moha. Considering us a rope to be a snake, that is actually illusion. So considering myself to the body, that's how we are there. So nirmana moha, jita sanga dosha. Jita sanga dosha means what? Freedom from the false association. So just like association is so important, avoiding the association of non-devotee is also equally important. And nowadays, if you read Nectar of Instruction, Utsahat Nishya Dhairya Tat Karma Sanga Tyaga. avoid the association which is detrimental to your progress in bhakti. And what will help? Utsahat nishya dharya tat tat karma. Sanga tyagat comes there. And atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangha laula. Janasangha means bad association. Association of the materialistic people or even the Mayavadis impulsively, etc. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains. So that we have to avoid. So 2 times Janasangha and Sangatyaga comes in NOI in the instructions of Srila Rupa Goswami. Means avoiding the bad association, avoiding the materialistic people's association is so critical to our progress in devotional service. So that is the meaning of freedom from false association. Jita Sangha dosha, like that. So nowadays, association is, the definition of association is changed. You know, Ajamila saw a prostitute and a low-born person in the forest. Physically, he saw. But nowadays, in the world of the internet and social media, everything is there. Karlo dunya mutti mein, right? Everything is there in the small device. Correct. So that is also the new definition of the association or avoiding those things. You know, we try to go sometimes to see something and we end up spending a lot of time seeing something else only. Correct. That is must be the realization of all of us, right? So that is what is meaning of Jita Sangha dosha. So the best way is to becoming attached to devotees, especially pure devotees. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmano kavayo vidu saiva sadhu shukruto moksha dwaram apavata. Like that. So the best way to overcome our attachment, the false association, is to becoming attached to a pure devotee. And then what is that? Next. Adhyatma Nitya. Nitya means regularly, every day, constantly. We should be in the Adhyatma, in the spiritual, what is being said, in spiritual knowledge, Nitya. Eternally, constantly, we should cultivate spiritual knowledge. Vinivritta Kama, and that's how, we should become free or disassociate from the Kama, the lust, the propensity to enjoy, like that. And the highest enjoyment is man and woman. Dvandva vimukta, we should become free from the dvanda. This is good, this is bad, I like this, I don't like this, etc. Right? This is dvanda, good or bad. This is my enemy, this is my friend. We should become dvandva vimukta. Sukha dukkha sanne, happiness and distress. It's a form of duality only, like that. Gachanti amuda. Amuda means without being bewildered by this maya, by this material world, by this false reflection of the real tree. We should gachanti padam avyayam tat. Our aim is to attain to the supreme abode, to the Krishna. That should be our goal, like that. So with that aim, we should perform our devotional service, like that. And then the Lord will explain further this what that abode is, how supreme that abode is, that he will explain, where there is no need of sunlight, moonlight, electricity, etc., etc. And gone once there, we will never come back to this miserable place. That's how he's making an advertisement, real advertisement. The material world advertisement is actually fake advertisement. They will show you something, actually it is very meager. But now it's transcendental advertisement. Krishna will give in the next verse, which we will see in the next time. Maybe tomorrow we'll see that. Okay. So I would like to stop here, 13:45 now. So any questions or comments anybody has, they can stay back. Others, they want to go back, they can please go. So any questions or comments? Whatever these 5 verses we saw after our break from the 15th chapter. Otherwise, we'll stop here only. No questions, no comments. Fine. Okay. So Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Upasit Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari. If you have any questions, you can ask me personally also on WhatsApp number. I think my number is already there in the group. So you can personally also ping me, put me. Whenever I get some time, I'll answer, try to answer them. Hare Krishna.